I think in terms of us doing all of these online chats, I think that for example in normal orchestral groups, in the breaks for rehearsals, usually the people of their section, like strings, they hang out with each other, winds hang out with each other, brass hang out with each other. I see that a lot, but with this kind of thing, we get to talk to each other, in musical, but not if that makes sense, and just talk to people that we wouldn't usually talk to, as Kara said. So that's probably for me the most enjoyable thing, that we can take forward as well when we're back in person. We can also, you know, keep meeting people from other sections and learn about what they enjoy and not enjoy about playing their instrument, that kind of thing. We can all use that kind of knowledge. I think I'll pass to Sam.
I think I most enjoyed meeting everyone's pets. I think Pond should be our mascot officially. And I think for me as well, the most valuable was end sessions. So Falup was very helpful for me too. And I'll pass it on to Kim.
Yeah, I think for me the thing I enjoyed the most and got the most out of was actually Ed's sessions with the improv. I think, especially for me, doubling on saxophone and never having really uh, learnt formally how to improvise, I found those particularly helpful. And also just sort of the concept of being able to let go with your music and just play and you don't have to worry about any sort of judgment or whatever, and like anything that comes out is just what comes out, and that's kind of how you express yourself. I'm gonna go Phoebe.
I think the thing I found most enjoyable was listening to everyone talk about how they approach playing a passage on their instrument, because everyone's different. I guess getting those multi perspectives and how everyone could then appreciate the music as like a full thing. If you're a brass player, you have to think about this when you're playing this bit and like that, which I think will be nice to keep thinking about when we go back to full rehearsals, just considering what's difficult for everyone and stuff like that. I'll pass to Mengfei.
Yes, so I think I enjoy most is like, because when we rehearsal like an orchestra and during the like the break, it's like a lot of people talk together, but I'm always the listener. And but like in like something like in this section, then I like have the chance to talk, and also like I can learn our members what they are experiencing and what they think in this section with the same topic. I think I will pass it to Claire.
Thanks, Mengfei. For me, I think that's what I've learned. What's been most enjoyable about this is just the sense of community that we've got in the orchestra. So if I look at the other groups that I play in regularly, we've all kind of fallen apart and not spoken to each other for the last 2 months. And it's really lovely that this is still going. And I think that's something that I hadn't realised that we had here. So that's really nice. And I think so I'll take that forward in terms of continuing to build that and continuing to enjoy that. I will pass to Connor.
I'd say I'm very much on the bandwagon with this one. I really enjoyed just getting to know everyone in the orchestra outside of the strings, sort of outside of a musical context as well, just sort of doing these chats at the start and people jumping in with ideas and suggestions through the sessions we've had. It's been really good just to get to know where people have come from. I got a lot out of Ed's sessions as well, actually doing the play-alongs in the improv sessions. I found it actually quite therapeutic, just sitting there and just playing something, and it didn't really matter what came out. I actually quite enjoyed that a lot, so we'll definitely be going forward with some of that. We'll jump over to Grace.
I think I really enjoyed Ed's sessions since I'm in a stage band at school and I literally have hardly done any improvisation. and I didn't really know anything about the modes either, so I probably got the most out of those sessions, and they were really helpful. And because of that, I've been able to talk to my percussion teacher at school about it and work on that as well. So yeah, pass the mic.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed ed sessions and getting to do a bit more improvisation. I don't really do much improvisation by myself. But yeah, I feel like every time I try and improvise, I always try and think about it too much and I don't know, kind of structure it in some way. And yeah, it doesn't always need to be that way. And I've been trying to get out of that. But yeah, I think I'll pass to Teresa.
Hi. For me, I'm in agreement with so many people on here. The most enjoyable thing has been learning about each of you and how you think and what you enjoy, and it's really, really encouraging to think that we're going to go back to rehearsals with so many people who are vested in improvement, and they're bringing so much to the party. Every one of you and everyone else who's not even here is bringing so much with them when they come, and it's been great learning about all that. I'm going to pass to Nick.
Yeah, I definitely say the thing I've most enjoyed was the sessions with Ed. They were really insightful to how he sees or how he approaches improvisation. Yeah, a bit of a cookie cutter response, but I really enjoyed getting to know all of you and your pets, and it was a really interesting experience over the past 2 weeks. Who hasn't gone? Ingrid, did you go?
No, I haven't gone, but I will. I'm going to go last. I'll pass to Jackie.
I think the thing that I most enjoyed, like many of you, is learning everyone's names over Zoom has been much easier. I was new this year and I could not keep anyone's name faces straight. I see the back of your heads. I have no idea who you are. And so that was really helpful for me. The thing I've learned, I think, was actually Ingrid's sessions at the start when we were going through the different pieces, being an instrument that never gets the tune, having a new way to approach how to look at a piece and know where you are rather than just counting 120 bars of rest. I found that really helpful. So that's definitely something that I'm going to take forward and probably do myself more, is find those scores online and actually sit down and work out so I can get more audible cues than just relying on hoping that I've counted correctly. So that's something that I'm definitely going to use.
About why everyone is here. And I would like to learn more about that and talk a bit more about that today, actually, because I think that's going to help us inform what we want to do moving forward. And what has been great about this conversation just now is all the things that people have said about what we want to take forward, that we have the opportunity now to shape what we're doing into the next iteration of what VYSO is. Because like Claire said, there are other groups that have not been doing stuff like this. So they have not had the experience of doing all of these kind of sometimes way out and wacky things that don't seem very orchestra, that we can now say, oh, well, actually, we think that's really cool and we want to incorporate that on a regular basis. Or we want to incorporate some kind of time in every rehearsal where we do some kind of semi-structured social activity. We could choose to do whatever we want, which is exciting. And we might not have thought about that in that way if we had not been in this lockdown kind of isolation situation, because it's so easy to just kind of go and do things the way that they've always been done. So what I would like to take forward, who was it said? Cara said about the sort of open-mindedness of, well, what could it be? What could a rehearsal be? What could an orchestra be? What could a performance be? Because all of those things can and probably will anyway be different now. So it was a very long-winded answer.
Whilst we're in social distancing orchestra rehearsals, we could actually swap positions. For example, hey, let's have a flute right at the front just have some strings a bit further back with the brass or winds, just to get like this different kind of perspective of, for example, what other people are looking, because for example, for string players, it's much easier to follow the conductor because we're right up the front. But when you're towards the back, it becomes more anticipational. So it'll be interesting. It will make the balance sound completely wrong, like having trombones right at the front, for example. But it'll be a nice experiment in terms of getting a feel for how do other people experience, sitting in an orchestra other than your own section, if that makes sense. Yeah, and plus it'll get us to know other instruments a bit better. It's like, oh, okay, that's what they're sounding like in this section here. For example, we can easily do that with the repertoire we learned, before this all happened. So, yeah, that's my idea.
What do people think about that? Lots of thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, well, I've added it to the list of things that people have been saying or try. Like if there was no framework for what a rehearsal was, what would you want to do in orchestra?
I like Claire's circle rehearsal idea.
One thing that came to mind for me was, could we either in sections or even as a whole orchestra do some improv like all together?
Ed could write us a skeleton for improvisation.
Totally, that's exactly what I thought, Cara.
This might be something we don't do very often, but I think it'd be fun to get someone maybe less experienced with conducting to try and conduct the pieces that we're playing, just to see what would happen. And so that people can get an idea of maybe what you're going through as well, Ingrid, when you're rehearsing with us.
Yeah, awesome. We can totally do that. Oh, can't have it drop down. Hang on. Keep going, everyone. These are awesome ideas.
I can't remember who said it, but the idea of having more guests in, like, whether they're like local composers or someone like Anne, that's a really cool idea. I feel like we gain like so much knowledge from people.
What you were saying about us appreciating the purpose of our part amongst the score is twofold useful, because if, say that we're a typical ensemble, we learn our little puzzle piece, often a player will learn their puzzle piece and in the concert even, they're not seeing the purpose of it. They're just going, oh, that's what it sounds like when it's all together. So the score study is so much more helpful for those who are timid about learning their piece, because then they've got purpose, they've got reason. Okay, so that's how I'm going to fold amongst the mix, and that's why I need to do what I need to do, not just, okay, so it has to sound like this, but also even for more advanced ensembles, a lot of players are coming to those rehearsals going, I know how this goes because I've played it before. And they're bringing that prior experience without appreciating why they need to do that. So even for those players, the score analysis is fundamental to changing up. Okay, so now I need to be listening, not just going, I know what I'm doing.
I feel like, sorry, I feel like that knowledge will also like free us up to like really paint more of a picture with the music, like rather than focusing on all the notes, which obviously it's great to play right, but like, you know, the emotion, like I think in one of our last rehearsals together, when Ingrid got to sort of stand up and like move and stuff, like I think like when you get out of your head a little bit and you understand the whole picture that's coming across, then you can be more expressive as well, maybe. And I remembered what Susan said last week, that we're not allowed to apologize anymore either. We have to remember that.
I'm really curious. Can we just do a hands up? Kara used the phrase like getting in your head about the parts and the notes and like playing the notes. Matt talked before about kind of being right and like making sure that like you do it correctly. Can we use the screen as a barometer? So like this is going to be like 100% and 50% and like not much, right? Of if you think about a typical rehearsal, let's say, I don't know, maybe in the middle of the rehearsal period. So we've kind of played the pieces a bit, but we're not quite at that performance level yet.
All right.
Performance back.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephanie. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. That's such a surprise, and that was the best and the worst ever. Happy birthday! I feel so privileged. Thanks, everyone.
That's so good. If everyone read Connor's comment, we can only go up from here.
Ingrid,
Yeah,
sorry,
Connor.
can we just give Ingrid a massive on mic thank you for all the work she's put into these sessions for the last few weeks, because it's been really good to work with everyone together. So thank you, Ingrid.
Thank you.
It's the first time I've done a bow in like 4 months.